Hi Gisele, I'm great that you've got another correction. Well done, really nice to hear from you again. Okay, this is making me laugh and I'm thinking Harry Potter. Okay, you are going to visit the UK, write a letter to your family, introduce yourself, yeah, great. I like that, really nice. Yours sincerely. I kind of think with such a friendly beginning, I wouldn't necessarily put that at the end. I think I put best wishes or kind regards. Yours sincerely is definitely more formal. It doesn't kind of match with that friendly beginning. So either of those would be better. I'm going to be your guest. Okay. I am delighted to be your guest. I mean, you're going to live with them. So I'm delighted to be that is more kind of friendly. I feel thrilled to go to such a nice country, one that I've always looked forward to knowing. Really nice. I feel thrilled to be going to, okay, tricky here, to be going to, we need a continuous, be going to. I feel thrilled to be going to such a nice country, one that I've always looked forward to knowing. That is very nice. I'm 28 years old, work in technology in the largest bank in South America. This is what has allowed me, careful, allowed me. So it's to be allowed to do something, and this is tricky, so you're using it in the present perfect, has allowed me to finally be able to take this program and perfect my English skills with native speakers. Okay, if you can do this right, it is fantastic. This is super good grammar, but make sure we get it right. So it's the present perfect tense. It's something that started in the past and is still continuing. It's not a finished action, which is why we need this. Since it's my first time in the UK, I like to ask for some information and tips on the area, if you could help me on this. Good. I looked at some websites on transport and fees. We would say transport and fares. If you're talking about how much the transport costs, we use a fare, F-A-R-E. You pay a fee for a school, but a fare for transport. But it'd be nice to understand more about food, shopping and other habits that might differ from the ones we have in Brazil. Okay, now you've used nice. Nice is the kind of word at school that we are taught, don't use this word. So just watch out for that. I think you can find better adjectives than that. It's not very exciting to understand more about. So I'd love to find out more about it's a lot of information you're asking for. Yeah, it might be better to ask for something more specific. Here, I kind of think be more specific. Like you could say you're vegetarian and are there any vegetarian restaurants around, or you absolutely adore Brazilian food. Is there a restaurant you could take them out to that's Brazilian? If you imagine their reply to this, they'd be writing you pages of email. So I think it shows you thought about it more, just to be a bit more specific there. Also, what later when I'll be arriving. Okay, I hope it's not a problem. As it is in the middle. So go as it's in the middle of the holidays, and you will just have been through Christmas. If you say just have been through, sounds like it's been a really hard thing to do. Okay, you will have just enjoyed Christmas. It might be a bad thing for that family, but probably, just to be safer, I put you will just have enjoyed Christmas. Okay, don't need this, it's too long. Remember your word count, and thanks for having me over. I look forward to meeting you. Okay, instead. So watch out here on the word count. This is very long. Okay, you are on 200 words, I think. Okay, 230 even. The guideline is over 150. I would definitely say 170 is masses. Okay, because the reason why is that this has 1/3 of the marks and your task 2 has 2/3 of the marks. This is heavily weighted, okay? So like do this, do it perfectly, get the marks, but focus on this, okay? Now I'm just looking at the layout of this. Paragraphs, this is really long and that's a bit too short. Try and have it looking more balanced. That's okay, but these should be the same. Yeah, otherwise I'm thinking the argument's going to be a bit not sure. Okay, it's a horrible essay. Difficult one. International marketing is sometimes seen as invasive and an intrusion. We need to show we understand these words. Others argue it's a necessary and economical form of education, in addition to spreading ideas. Okay, discuss both views and give your opinion. So there's no doubt that marketing can reach customers worldwide. Okay, so why don't we have marketing and advertising, or advertising? Because this is really what we're talking about, advertising. So we need to show the examiner, yeah, I understand. Well, some people feel their privacy is being taken away. Others defend this as a need to build the country's economy and share their habits. Okay. It's not my privacy is being taken away, is it? That's an interesting thought. I mean, you can talk about privacy being invaded, and you could use that because you're not using exactly the same word form. Being invaded. Or I would go, people feel that much of this, which would be refer back to the advertising, could be inappropriate. Really love that. This word in this essay works very well. So, some people feel that much of this, the advertising, could be inappropriate. Others defend this technique, so we need to be careful using this the whole time, as a need to build the country's economy and share their habits. It's not really the habits, it's share their products. And maybe share and showcase their products and culture. I really like that start. I really, really like that start, but I think we need to be very careful on the exact words we're using. Just both use. Okay. Yeah. Explain my agreement with the latter. I really don't like it, the latter format. It's confusing. I'm thinking, what do you mean? I've got to find it. So discuss both views, and I would say using examples. And then you need to have some examples in here. On the course, we show you how to do this, but I'm just seeing you've got Brazil, but you say using examples from Brazil. Yeah. These essays need an example. It's part of the sort of academic writing style that they are looking for. So privacy nowadays is a complex concept to define. Once practically everything we do online is monitored somehow in order to collect information from our behaviour. Not once, but as. Whichever website we visit presents a pop-up asking us to agree with the use of cookies, which are collecting information while we browse. Although necessary for the companies to understand their customers, the data derived from this navigation is usually unknown. Absolutely. The data derived from, right? Customers. Data derived from this navigation is usually unknown by us, by the user. Just go by the user. Who feels invaded by this action. Okay, careful. We're talking about marketing, and I'm thinking advertising. And yes, I get the idea of pop-ups, and yes, I agree with you, but you've got to connect this back to advertising, not to privacy. You started writing about privacy, and that's not the essay. You mentioned privacy, and it's like you like that idea, so you're talking about it. Be careful, though. I want you to talk about marketing. So I want you to talk about more about. You could start with this. You could, but you'd have to go straight into. So on our behaviour, which rapidly leads to a series of adverts appearing as pop-ups. Pop-ups on computers and social media many of which are unwelcome, of no interest, and possibly culturally unacceptable. Oh, okay, inacceptable. Okay, this I think is where you need to be going. You can have the comments about privacy. Okay, I get that one. But to get this back to marketing, okay, so to stay on the topic, which you have to, then I think you need that, something like that, which rapidly leads to a series of adverts, I'm talking about adverts, appearing as pop-ups on computers and social media, many of which are unwelcome, of no interest, and possibly culturally unacceptable. Okay, I don't want to know about that product. I'm not interested in it. Thank you very much. Okay, so for me, this is off topic. It's very interesting, but it's off topic. Okay, so I'd be very careful. Make sure you do your planning first. You've picked out keywords, but you're kind of running with the wrong idea. On the other hand, so you can't have on the other hand because you haven't got on the one hand. Also, on the one hand, on the other hand, it's quite band 6. It's not a band 7, so I forget that. So you could go better with however, it is argued that. So that's a nicer way to start a paragraph, a bit stronger. All the information searched by enterprises is actually necessary for understanding their target consumer. Okay, this is how the organisation evolves their products. The organisations evolve their products, creating better versions. McDonald's has an interesting marketing view in Brazil. They researched throughout the country to discover the different names of the restaurant. The different names the restaurant popularly receives, only to find out there are numerous variations from region to region in this huge country. If they'd not taken the time to take this data, taken the time to conduct this research, or to question their I conduct this research is better, without them knowing, okay, it would not have been possible to have the impact they expected when they released the signs of restaurants adapted to local pronunciation. Okay, this is really interesting, but again, I don't think you're on the right topic here. Okay, so sometimes invasive. Here you're going to argue, the first paragraph, you're going to argue, okay, it's invasive. And you need to develop this and then give an example. So, for example, and you might talk about a country like a country in the Middle East where Zara are advertising the whole time, and the clothes that Zara advertise are not suitable for that local market. So take this point, build it up with an example to say it's inappropriate. Here, okay, yes, interesting, okay, so you're talking about international marketing because it's an American company and how it's a necessary form of education and spreading ideas. Okay, but is McDonald's spreading? Yes, it's understanding its customer base, but I'm not convinced that in that example it's spreading ideas. It's good at marketing, but you really want to be almost showing how McDonald's is spreading the idea of American culture into Brazil because of its restaurants. Almost an easier example is to take McDonald's in a country like India, for example, where it's newer, and say that McDonald's in India is intrusive because it's spreading the idea of not very good quality food, probably, and it might be like local businesses, local restaurants might be closing because they can't compete with McDonald's. Because McDonald's is too big, and so the local food restaurants are closing. That's the idea of it being unwelcome. Or you could say, yes, it's an amazing thing because it's teaching other nations about American culture and American food and American lifestyle. Okay, so for me, I don't think you've quite got the idea of the the topic. It's very common, this. Not many people get this essay exactly right, because it is a really, really tricky one. So I like what you're saying, but for me, you're talking more about branding and advertising skill, and that is not the same as it being a necessary and economical form of education and spreading ideas. They're understanding the culture, but they're not spreading ideas here. So the other thing I make a comment about this paragraph is that it's too long. Your example is too long. Your example is too chatty. Make the point that by doing research, they've understood their market. Boom. Yeah. And also in this writing, so McDonald's, I would go McDonald's researched, or McDonald's, one of the greatest food franchises, conducted research, discovering that, kind of make it a bit tighter. It's very interesting, but I think that's not quite the academic style that we're looking for. So I completely agree, it's an important job and essential for the companies to be close to their public, although it may be invasive. That's okay, but don't forget this idea of international, going from country to country, so the impact it could have. Okay, really good writing, well done. I don't know when your exam is, but have a look at doing some more essay practice, because I think you would really benefit from it. Hopefully you're finding this feedback useful. Thank you.